Well, hello and welcome. It's Reba here. I am so excited that today I am introducing a series of videos that I'm going to be making in the next few weeks and months that's going to teach you some pretty neat things, some things that'll make a real difference in your life, like how to have more inner peace, like how to awaken more deeply to the spiritual realms, like how to invite more compassion and unconditional love into your life. And just in general, how to move through your life with more ease and joy. Now, I'm thinking probably most of us want most of that. So the reason that we're feeling this way is there is a huge transition that is afoot on this planet. We are moving into a higher vibration. And some people are calling this the new earth, but there's some very intense energies afoot. And as a result of that, our lives are more intense, and many of us are going through some pretty deep personal transformations. And we're searching for information or tools or anything that would give us support to move through these times in a more gentle way. Now, when I spoke of that transformation, I've noticed as I talk to people that there's a few ways it plays out. For some folks, they're confused, they're really stressed, life feels pretty intense, they don't really know what's going on, and they're just simply searching for some tools that'll help them understand and just cope better. And then I find there are some people who are seekers. They have arrived at the thought that, wow, I think there's more to life than what I'm living. I think life is bigger in some way than I know. I think there's something more out there, and I want to know, what is it? And so I call those people the seekers. And then many people are having spiritual awakenings. They're noticing that they're a lot more intuitive, lots of synchronicities happening that are unexplainable and maybe even mind-blowing. And they just feel called to live in a more sacred way, more connected to the spiritual realms. And so many people are experiencing a spiritual awakening. And then there might be another group of people that I'm calling the quantum seekers. And maybe they've learned or just read that everything is energy, or maybe these people are already, doing some things with their own energy field. Maybe have read some teachers, spiritual teachers like Bruce Lipton, who talks about how you can change your DNA. And, there's other information about negative ions and how that energy at waterfalls and in nature uplifts you and how it's good for you. And we're just learning that those old Newtonian physics rules that used to work in our world at a very quantum, small level simply don't work. And many people are fascinated by this, and they're ready to find some tools and some practices that will help them use that information. So if you're here for any of those reasons, I want you to know you're in the right place. And also, I want you to know there's nothing wrong with you. We are all going through some pretty deep personal transformations. Everyone on the planet, although everybody doesn't know it, and including Mother Earth, our Mother Gaia. The planet itself is a consciousness, and it is also shifting. So my purpose in this series that I'm introducing today is to make some short videos showing you practices and teaching you principles that you can actually go and use in your everyday life. I do this, and I will be giving you an example later how I use them. So these principles will help you deal with these intense times. They will support your spiritual awakening, and hopefully you'll make these energies your friends and find it fun to work with them and find it just so exciting to be on the planet at this time. So I'm very passionate about these things, and when I get passionate about something, I want to tell everybody, and I want them to enjoy it too. So it really gives me a lot of joy to contribute to other people, and especially something that helps their life be better. So how this works is I'm going to go through a sample day of how I would use these principles myself. And just starting first thing in the morning and this moving through the day. And just give you an example of a few things that these are totally usable principles that can make your life better. And so the first thing I do in the morning is I start with a meditation practice. And it can be very simple. It can be as simple as taking 3 deep breaths. There's been studies that show that actually shifts the energy, hormones, and so forth in your body. And I can hear some of you saying, I can't meditate. I've tried, didn't work. Mostly you're probably thinking, those thoughts just kept intruding and so forth. So we'll deal with that. That's a big misconception because that's part of meditation and that's what will bring you peace, being able to deal with those thoughts. So the first thing I do is a meditation practice, and through the years, it's progressed and I've done various different practices. And then another thing that I use is flower essences. Oh, and by the way, one of our first videos will be on meditation, because that's a very important one. And so the next one that I use daily is flower essences. And flower essences are just the life force of plants that have been imprinted in water and then has been bottled. And so what you do is you take these energy essences and they can help you shift, like maybe be more calm or be more creative. And so how I do it is each morning I just fill a pitcher with water and I put a few drops of some different essences depending on what I'm doing that day. And then one of the most fun things I do each morning is a cacao ceremony. And this is a ceremony that I do each morning with my husband. I make a drink from heirloom chocolate, and I do a special ceremony that honors the 4 elements and honors Mother Earth, and then send love to the world and to all people and leaders and so forth. Cacao is a plant medicine. When you ingest it, this heirloom cacao that is very pure, actually it opens your heart and it uplifts you. And the creativity that I've experienced and some of the experiences I've had after cacao ceremony is pretty amazing. And then as I begin to move through the day, I might use essential oils. And some of you may be familiar with aromatherapy. Just put some oils in a diffuser, very simple. One that I would suggest is lavender. Helps you to be very calm. And then they've done some good studies about lemon. And if you use lemon essential oil in a diffuser when you're working during the day, it helps you be more alert. So there's many others, but those are just 2 examples of a way that I use these principles and these wonderful tools to enhance my day. And then another one is animal totems. And what this is, as I move through my day, I notice what animals show up. Now, it could be, they walk across my yard. I could see them on a billboard. I could be on the internet and see them or whatever. But if an animal shows up and you really notice it, it has a message for you. And so what we know is life is very symbolic, and if we pay attention, there's messages in lots of things, but animals are pretty easy because there's animal guidebooks and such that can help you. And I have some pretty dramatic examples. There was actually one time when I was looking to rent an apartment, and there was a seagull that was tapping on the window in such a way that when I tuned in, I got it, that I needed to look in the one heads. And I found an apartment thanks to the birds. So I've had amazing energies and messages from birds. Now, I recommend there's a book called Animal Spirit Guides by Stephen Farmer is one that I use a lot. And there's other ones. There's tons of ones out there and on the internet also. And going along with the animals and thinking about nature, I look at the seasons and the cycles. And this would include astrology, which is just an energy weather report. It just shows you energetically what's going on. And it's especially good to follow astrology to understand the tailwinds that might be available for you to use for different projects or for specific things you're doing. Now, there's lots of good information, very good astrologers on the internet also. There's one I recommend called the Astrology Hub that actually has something called the Weekly Energy Weather Report. And in another video, I will definitely do a video about astrology and just teach you some ways to begin to use that. And then going along with that, I do ceremonies on the full moons, on the new moons, on the equinoxes and the solstices. This is a way to connect with nature, with the natural rhythms, and there's such power and spirituality in that. And so these are some practices that help me connect with the earth and with the seasons and with all that's natural on our planet. And then when we get to the evening at the end of the day, it's a good time to just kind of relax and wind down. Now, your brain goes into a state called the hypnagogic state, which is makes it very open to suggestion. And so this is a time that you can bring relaxation, but also you can work on things that you want to know or learn during your sleep. So the first thing I do is I do something called a success journal. And in this journal, I write down things that I consider that were successful during the day. And, you know, it might be something like I had a great hike with a friend, or maybe I ate an excellent healthy lunch, or maybe I handled a difficult person with grace. And so I would write down anything can be put in there. We often do a to-do list and we check it off, but how many times do we note our successes? So that's sort of telling your brain at the end of the day, this is important, I want more of that tomorrow. So I suggest you do that. And then the very last thing that I do is I do something called dream incubation. And with this, you can actually suggest to your subconscious mind that it work on something that you need to know more about. For instance, I might say, show me the perfect plan for my butterfly garden. What plants to put in it and where to put them. And then that would be incubating that suggestion to my subconscious mind. Then I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning. Now, what if I don't have a dream? Doesn't matter. When you incubate that, you will get an answer. And so what I do is I might get up and just get my dream journal and just whatever is in the front of your mind, write that down, and you will be shocked at how answers will come. And it may come like during the day. You might be brushing your teeth and you go, oh, wow, that's the answer. So not to worry if you don't have dreams. Well, everybody does have dreams. It's just that we often don't remember them. So that's how I end my day, and then I drift off to sleep and being peaceful and letting my brain work on some of those things. So that's an example of some of the things that you can actually use just naturally as part of your day as you move through it. And that this, definitely, these have all helped me create a more joyful life and a life of more ease. So I hope that gave you an idea, of what's possible as you follow this channel and begin to learn some of these principles and practices that I will be telling you about. And so I invite you to visit this channel often to just check up and see what's new. And I want to thank you so much for watching today, for visiting with me as I share these things I'm very passionate about. And I look forward to doing many videos for you that will just share lots of practical information that you can take into your life, be more peaceful, and support your spiritual awakening, and support you having, moving into a life that's just like better than you can imagine. That's what I want for you. So I thank you very much for being with me today.